Hello and welcome to Last Week in Movies, breaking down all the biggest stories and news from movies and entertainment over the last week to get you ready for the week to come. And I guess there's no bigger story right now than the settlement of the unbelievable Scarlett Johansson Disney lawsuit. If you remember a few months ago when Black Widow came out, and they did their hybrid in-theater Disney Plus premium type of release strategy, Scarlett Johansson was pretty pissed. It came out that she had lost like $50 million in the decision to release the movie on home video essentially at the same time as it was in theaters, as her contract had her tied to box office revenue. So she sued Disney for breach of contract, and what followed was like a really vicious back and forth where she accused them of breaching the contract and not, caring, and then they fired back and said that she was being greedy in the time of COVID. And it got to the point where rumors were coming out that a lot of Marvel employees, head honchos in Marvel, like Kevin Feige and those types of filmmakers, were disturbed by what Disney was saying and were upset at the scene that it was causing. So looked pretty bad. Things looked bleak, and they reached a settlement today, or this week I should say. They reached a settlement, and Scarlett Johansson had this to say: "I am happy to have resolved our differences with Disney. I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done together over the years and have greatly enjoyed my creative relationship with the team. I look forward to continuing our collaboration for years to come." So if you're not sure about what she could be saying here, that roughly translates to, yes, I will take yes, I will take $40 million to stop complaining and to drop this lawsuit. Thank you very much. Call me if you need a Black Widow flashback in anything. I'll be around. Thanks, guys. It's tough to be hey, she needed $40 million more dollars, but at the same time, if it's in her contract and we're talking about $1 billion corporation, yeah, pay her her money. That's what the contract is for. So cool that they were able to do this, and it's not going to become an even bigger, long process. And more so, it's nice to see that the studio didn't get away with just bullying her into dropping it. I'm glad that the resolution here supports paying the actors and anyone involved in these movies what they've signed on to be paid. Sticking with the world of the MCU, Thor 2 The Dark World director Alan Taylor has come out and said that he wouldn't be opposed to the idea of getting his own basically Snyder Cut version of Thor 2. He was promoting the new Sopranos movie, The Many Saints of Newark, when he was asked about it. He was asked about Zack Snyder getting the money to finish his movie, and not surprisingly, he, like many other filmmakers, was a fan of the filmmaker getting to do what he wanted. And he said, "I have huge respect for Kevin Feige. He's doing something that no one else has ever done before, and nobody thought it was possible until he did. Now, everyone's trying to imitate it." But, that said, he blames the studio, Marvel, for the reason Thor 2 was critically underwhelming. He said, "I focused all my attention on making a certain movie, and then in the editing process, decisions were made to change it a lot. And my regret was that the movie got released was changed quite a bit. I have great fondness for some of the things that went away in the original cut. There was a kind of a quality, a wonder to the thing that was beautiful to me." Now, Thor 2 is consistently one of the lower ranked Marvel movies. I know there's people that do love it, but it is, when you tend to look at lists, it does tend to be near the bottom of the field from all of the Marvel projects. That said, I don't know what you could add to make it better. You know what? No. Release the Taylor cut. Come on. What are we doing, guys? Filmmakers need to make their films. That's in the name. Filmmaker. Why are we limiting the creative process here? You get Alan Taylor of Game of Thrones fame to direct a Marvel movie, and you want to cut it all up into your Marvel film? No. Release the Taylor cut. But 2 weeks ago, a movie was announced that I really should have just hopped on and made a video about instantly, but I did not. And you know what? I regret it. I regret it greatly. But here I am, because it has dominated the stories for the last week or so since it was first announced. And man, if you aren't excited for Illumination Studios presents Super Mario the movie with this unbelievable cast of Chris Pratt as Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Keegan-Michael Key in the role of Toad, and then in the greatest casting in the history of movies, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, followed by Fred Armisen, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Sebastian Maniscalco rounding out the cast. I don't know what to tell you if you're not excited for this movie, because, like, I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be bad, but it's going to be fascinating. I, in my head, am just picturing some of the things, like what these characters will look like with these voices coming out of them. I mean, obviously, you're going to walk a pretty fine line here with Chris Pratt Mario. He's either going to be a gigantic walking Italian stereotype, or he's not going to have an Italian accent at all, and it's not going to be Mario. It's going to just be Emmett from the Lego Movie again. And I'm fascinated. I cannot wait to see what that's going to sound like. Everything else is actually kind of pretty spot on, and I'm like annoyed at how good some of the casting is. Like, but unfortunately, not everybody thinks it's going to be perfect. John Leguizamo, who played Luigi in the live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie, alongside Bob Hoskins as Mario, and I want to say Dennis Hopper as Bowser. It was an actor like that. I think it was Hopper, but he was not happy. He tweeted out about being upset that the cast was all white and that there was no Latinx actors in the cast, and he's kind of right. I mean, it's a pretty white cast, except you do have Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. His tweet, he said, "So glad Super Mario Bros. Is getting a reboot. Obviously, it's iconic enough, but too bad they went all white. No Latinx in leads. Groundbreaking colorblind casting in the original. Plus, I'm the only one who knows how to make this movie work script-wise." So, I see what he's doing here. He's pitching for a job, working on either the script, but you know what? Put him in it. Put him in the movie as his Luigi, and let's open up the Mario verse. Let's get a multiverse going of Mario movies. We'll get Earth 1 Mario, played by Chris Pratt, with Luigi, played by Charlie Day, and then they'll encounter Earth 5 Luigi, John Leguizamo, from an alternate reality, and it's gonna get wild. I'm talking 15 movies minimum, spin-offs, team-ups. It's gonna be like the MCU of Mario. So this is one of those things that, like, I don't understand why anything had to be said. But director Paul Schrader, who directed The Card Counter, which is a movie that was critically well received and kind of just came and went, like most movies have in the pandemic era of movies. But he decided to take an opportunity to really go in on Clint Eastwood and his movie Cry Macho, for no reason either. Paul Schrader takes to Facebook, and here's what he posted. He said, "I can appreciate the inclination to give Clint Eastwood a pass, but has an important American film director made a film as bad as Cry Macho since Howard Hawks' Man's Favorite Spot? It fails in every area. Screenwriting, lighting, locations, sets, props, wardrobe, casting. When early on, Eastwood employs an under-the-car shot of a boot hitting the ground, I thought, great, he's gonna riff on the stylizations of macho westerns, but that was the last interesting composition in the film. Sure, Clint is given a few cliche-ridden passages about the futility of machismo, but these have only value because a shrunken, dirty Harry voice is giving them. These character insights had value 30 years ago. It was like listening to a criminal apologize to the family of his victims in the hopes that the judge will then cut him a lesser sentence. What a dick.